hires.
How would we change the layout?
Yes, if you need to change the layout.
Well, it's hard because anytime you're looking at comparables, right? Like what houses are selling for 500 plus, like you're looking at the layout and a lot of those are kind of like one story, like ranch, kind of bigger, like, wide like that. This one's like kind of skinny and up. So it's hard to kind of compare those sometimes, but also it's just really tight. Like the kitchen, if you saw the kitchen, it's so small that like we're gonna have to take out the wall right there to like open up the kitchen, but then there's a door right there. And so it's like, what happens to that door? Do you cut it off? And then there's other problems with where their bedroom is. It's like right next to, I don't know. There's just a lot of questions. And I'm not the best with that kind of stuff, honestly. I try to just stick to like what I'm good at, which is like negotiating, getting deals under contract at a good price or good terms, and trying to do like simple stuff. I'm not trying to be like a huge rehabber or anything like that. But
Right.
there's probably better people to ask that question than me because I'm generally asking other people that question when I get a house.
Yeah, no, I actually asked because I went to see a house not too far from here.
Uh-huh.
And the house, it needs a lot of repairs. The house, it's the ARB's on, 500 plus.
Hmm.
Uh, but it needs a lot of repairs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I haven't put an offer on it yet.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I'm actually struggling because I have to put an offer and the realtor, I know the realtor, so
Oh, I see.
yeah, it's so
Do you,
funny because I mentioned to him, I'm starting to, I'm trying to do this, and he was like, oh, I have this deal, so he
hmm.
took me to see it.
Do you need help like analyzing it today, or do you feel pretty confident in what you're going to offer?
Um, we could analyze it if you want.
Yeah, well, we could do that. I mean, does anybody have any kind of like pressing questions or things that have been on y'all's mind this week? I just want to leave this open for questions or even just things you've seen this week that have been helpful for your business.
Yeah, I had one. Um, one objective is people with sub two is what's this going to do when I go to buy my next house? I know you've probably done more reps on this than anybody. What are you seeing is common for their next lender? Are they needing to, have the house for 12 months in somebody else's name? Or
Hmm.
do you show them lease instead? Or how do you kind of get around that if they're trying to qualify for their next deal?
Yeah, I've kind of that's a good question because I've thought about that myself and I feel like there's a lot of different answers for it. Like I have a friend, for example, his name is Landon, who I hit him up about this actually the other day because I had a lender, Matt Bell with CMG Group, who I had used fairly consistently, like whenever this would come up, and I would just send them to him and he would figure it out. He'd usually do like what you said, it'd be like a lease agreement basically, or sometimes what we would do is like just send like a month like actual check directly to their account like as like a basically like a screenshot to be able to show like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac or whatever for whatever approval they need. But then the problem is I think they started having some loans get bought back because like they didn't do it the right way because they were trying to be so flexible with it. And so I talked to Landon the other day, and Landon was like, "Hey, I got a pretty easy way where we'll do it, and we just have to kind of do it in house to work with the lender." So, I mean, I've in general, it's 12 months or so, but honestly, at this point, when I'm talking to sellers, like when they ask me that, I'm just like, "Hey, I'm not a lender. I can't make any kind of guarantees. At the end of the day, if this is like the most important thing for you to be able to buy a house in the next, you know, uh, 1, 2 years, and you don't feel comfortable with this, like don't do this." Um, because most people I'm working with are not like in a position where they're going to buy something anyways in a few years.
Mm.
But what I do tell them is like in general, what we've seen is like if you're able to show 12 months of payments from us and it's showing that it's our bank account, in general, we can get you approved. So I
Okay.
just keep it basic. I don't know. Do you have a different way how do you normally handle that with sellers?
I've done, I haven't done a ton of sub twos, but I did one where I just bought it on a lease purchase until they closed on their next property first. because their lender
Yeah.
said, yeah, lease purchase will work fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it took some trust from me because I had to make a pretty good deposit on the lease purchase that they were going to use for their deposit on their next house, or for their down payment. And I was okay with that, but that took a lot of trust. And I did trust the people and was getting a good amount of equity and a good rate both
Nice.
on that. But I am, seeing some of the houses out there that may not have a huge amount of equity, but have, let's say you start getting some of those 2% rates. There might be
Mm-hmm.
some people out there that are not necessarily in pre-foreclosure. Their house is just set on the market for a while, and if the numbers make sense where it could just become a good rental, then they're motivated to sell. But some of those are going to buy their next house, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of wondering how that's going to affect them.
Yeah, you're spot on. I feel like it's easier, and Martin, after this, you can answer. It's generally like for anybody in the group that is maybe wondering about this question, like if you take a mortgage sub two, what happens? Can they buy another house? That kind of thing. That's what we're covering. And in general, it's better to either have it, they buy a house right away, so short term, or like further out. If it's like between that like 3 month, 6 month, 9 month period, it gets kind of cloudy and hairy, and I would probably just tell them to stay away from it at that point. Usually you either need 12 months or what David's talking about is you have like a basically like a lease purchase where you have a lease showing, hey, we're covering, the payments are covered, right? They get approved for their new mortgage at that point, right? Because this kind of gets offset, right? Hopefully they have enough at that point. They get approved, they close, and then you close on it sub two. Like in general, that's how it works. Um, Martin, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I know you've been patient.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, man.
Yes, in terms of making those payments, so when someone typically asks that question, I know PACE talks about using or finding proof from the third-party servicing company. So, Evan, in your situation, do you use a third-party servicing company to make the payments, or do you just go straight to the seller for sub two?
I just pay it directly through the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just through the mortgage portal. Yeah. Um, I asked actually about that at one point when I was like first kind of getting started and got my first one. And the lender I was working with that had done a ton of these, he was like, "Hey, like it doesn't really help with that." He's like, "It's in general like you can still go back and show, if you're looking for proof, he's like, you can show it's came from your bank account. So, um, I don't know. I used one and it was like such a pain in the butt. At least the one I used, it was just awful. Like they were late and then like they made excuses and it was like one that they recommended and I was like, gosh, this is crazy. So I don't know. Have you had any experience like working with any of them or like heard anything about them?
No, just literally, I was fishing around because I was going to do a sub two deal, but it fell through.
Uh-huh.
Um, and looking at service companies here in Tennessee,
Yeah.
and there's a few that were recommended, but I haven't moved forward with any yet. And I was just curious to know whether you use them, you and your team.
hmm Yeah, yeah. If you do use one, let me know. I have one that was decent. Juan said, "Did you hear about the guy that got over 80 properties subject to and did not make any payments? What is that about?" No, I'm joking. Of course. I've had like
Was
several
his
text
name
me.
Brad?
Yeah, gosh.
I don't think it was a, but
No.
I did read this article.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, it's wild. What do you
So
think
that
about it?
yeah, that could affect us if people that are so unfamiliar. I mean, people go to Google to learn and experience. If you are telling people, "Hey, we're taking over your payments," do you mention the word? I mean, I guess your contract does mention subject to. So if they do Google that at all,
Hmm.
that is a hot story. So it's going to pop up, and that could
Yeah.
hurt us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it's the thing is like I'm surprised more of that hasn't happened. Like it's just I I was watching actually a video that a couple of people were like covering it and like I do think that with anything like the problem is like yes, like people that don't know what they're doing are like either A not partnering up or getting guidance from people that have done it before and they're kind of just like running off with it because they just heard something. Like that's no bueno. Like there is a certain element you're not going to know everything before you get into it, but when it's someone's credit on the line, it's like, yeah, you gotta you gotta know more than what you're doing. Plus, it's like scaled way too quickly, and it sounds like he wasn't even really trying to like scale or like grow this portfolio. It sounds like he was just taking private. It sounds like more of a private money problem. Like he's scaling, getting private money. Wait, he shouldn't have that much access to private money. If he didn't have that much access, I mean, he wouldn't have been able to buy 80 properties, and it wouldn't be a probably a huge news story, or whatever it is now. So, that's also a problem too. It's like if you're a private lender, it's like, gosh, like be better. you know, but yeah, it's tough. Alex, what's up, man?
Hey,
Wait, before Alex, real quick, I'm sorry. Before you go, Brent, did you have any thoughts on that? I feel like you have some thoughts.
I didn't read on to the full article. I was just wondering, like, how does someone acquire 80 properties and it's profitable is my question. Like, he had to get the money from somewhere. So, is that what he was doing? Is just taking private money from other investors and rather than paying
That's
down the original mortgage was like,
Hmm.
so.
but still, like, you'd have to go. I don't know. Like, you'd have to go through title. Like, how was he acquiring these 80 properties? So, I don't
Yeah.
know. There
Well,
was
he was
there's a
like,
lot of.
So apparently, what he did was, he took like the first few properties just to, as a proof of concept, and he used that in order to keep getting people because now he had something to show for.
hmm apparently, apparently
Unfortunately,
one of the things that I heard too, and I don't know the whole story. I literally like read it for like 5 minutes, but like one of the things that he was doing is like he was asking for a lot more than what he needed for like the rehab or something like that. And I don't even know if he was doing the rehab on half of these. I think he was just literally just taking the money and like dipping out. That's what it sounded like. It sounds more just like straight up. I don't know if it's fraud or whatever it is, but it's not whatever you would consider it. Just stealing,
well, it's very
That's
basically.
crazy
creative.
Yeah,
that
that's
like
creative finance, man. And that's actually what we're going to be talking about tonight. How to how to raise $2 million, run away with it so you can create
Uh,
passive income for yourself.
the
yeah,
crazy thing is like you're so good at you got 80 properties. Like imagine if you like were a legit business person, like how well you would be doing right now.
Yeah.
Like
That's true. That's true. Yeah. It's like the same, it's scary. It's like the same thing that caused at least 80 people to give him money is the same thing you could use, for good to
yeah,
give someone
you
a
you
return
you would
and
have had like 200 properties by now and
yeah.
not be worried about going to prison.
Isn't that crazy? So wild.
Yeah.
Um, Alex, what's up, man? Sorry about that.
yeah, no worries. That's a fascinating story, and I hadn't heard about it, so I want to dig into it. But I'm curious about methods for inbound marketing. I'm just kind of noticing with the way that my business is performing, and just the amount of time that I have to invest
Hmm.
in it, that I'm kind of poorly leveraged if I'm trying to do a whole bunch of cold calling and outbound marketing. So I'm just curious, if there's any advice or strategies or guidance that I can implement for some inbound marketing. Like I saw an ad on social media the other day. This VA type of thing would do like 40 unique and exclusive qualified leads per month for like a flat rate. Um, so I don't know if you've heard of anything like that, but yeah, I'm just looking for just some guidance on that front.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like, and you're just because I know you're where you're at a little more like intimately than probably the rest of the group. So, um, what I would recommend for you, and this is like what I did, is like either one, you could stick with the cold calling, kind of like what you're doing, and try to find some more time for it, right? And you've been doing that, so I understand your frustration there. There's kind of two things that I would recommend for you, maybe three. One would be like posting more on like Facebook, social media that you're wanting to buy houses or wholesale, like that's a big one. I think that like people like skip over that because they just think like everyone else is doing it, but that doesn't mean that everyone has seen those posts that other people are doing, if that makes sense. Right? Like I have a lot of friends that have no idea who Martin is
Yeah.
because like they're not friends with Martin, they're friends with me on Facebook or whatever it is, right? So that's one thing, right? Even if Martin's making posts, that doesn't mean they know that. Two would be, you could start really focus on building some relationship with some agents. That'd be like a free kind of inbound thing once you get it set up. And maybe you spend like a quarter of your time doing some of that. I don't want to like split you up too much where you're doing like five things at once, but that's not a bad thing to invest in, especially if you only have time
Yeah.
and you
Uh-huh.
don't have a ton of like, you don't have 7 grand a month to go spend on like inbound,
Yeah.
right? I'm just trying to think of like cheaper things. I would say the third thing probably would be hiring some kind of cold caller or something like that if you can't do it yourself to call like a very specific list. I would tell you personally, you could look at anything you want. I would recommend pulling your own list, your own data, like kind of like what you're doing now, and
Mhm.
having someone call that instead of them bringing you like what they're saying is qualified leads.
Okay.
And then you kind of manage it. That's what I would recommend.
Gotcha.
So that's
All
that's not
right.
a bad start, dude. Yeah, hopefully does that help at all?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, we've made our business off of cold calling and texting, and we've started doing Facebook leads like just recently,
Mhm.
honestly, and we're gonna start
Yeah.
doing some PPC and stuff like that, towards the middle of this year and try to like scale that up. But I mean, it's worked well for us, and we just got
Yeah.
our first Facebook deal yesterday. So
Oh,
but
nice.
Facebook's been tough though. It's been like
Yeah.
3 months of just kind of like wasted leads, honestly.
Oh, okay. Are you like messaging people directly on Facebook, or are you just, posting leads for the or business advertisements?
Just like ads.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, nothing
I'm
crazy.
glad at least it paid off at one.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Still got to run title on it and all that. Yeah, it'll be good though.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thank you.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Ask as many as you want. If no one else has questions, keep going.
Yeah. How do,
I'm,
how do you find the cold callers that you have found? Like, do you send out research, or do you like find someone that would be interested in, and you're listening to their calls and you're doing like role playing with them? Like, how does that process actually work?
Like, well, I don't know. I had like a unique experience. Like me, I was kind of doing calls like this, especially getting started, and the people that were interested in learning more, like Cindy's on this call and Amir's on this call, right? Like they still work, with me on the team. And at that point, I was like, hey, I'm looking to hire some people, and like I'd already just built those relationships. So like that's how I got my like my team to be able to like help with some of the stuff. But I mean, if you're just looking like for like just a cold caller, because like that's not like Cindy and Amir do like way more than just cold calling. Like they help
Yeah.
support with stopping foreclosures. Like Amir helps with pulling lists. Cindy like supports, goes to projects with me, like all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I would still reach out maybe just in your community and just ask. I think that's the easiest thing. I mean, because especially like you already know so many people in Tennessee that like know you, that would like love to learn from like your experience. And I feel like you should just like leverage that. I don't know. I feel like that's easier, but maybe not.
Okay.
What have
Yeah.
you thought
I
about
was just
anything else?
no, I just the building the team. I know I've talked to you about it. Like, how do you build a team to the point where you have a group of people that you can just rely on and doing that on a consistent basis?
Pray to God and ask for it. I got I got lucky. I'm very lucky.
I'm sitting here
Uh,
laughing. Sorry.
no, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
Cindy literally
How do
just
I get
drove
a
with
Cindy?
me to freaking Gatlinburg and back, It's like
Yeah.
hard to find that, but it takes time. We've been working together for 2 years. And I do think that there's so many like because I mean I've had people, and I'm sure you've had people like ask like, hey, like how could I work with you or whatever, and it's like as long as you feel like someone's hungry, and you're like, hey, like if you're ready to roll, like here's some solid expectations. Like I need you to call for 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, whatever it is, and here's your commission, and just do like commission only, just starting out. That's what I would do. But I don't know, eat what you kill. If it doesn't work out, it's like
Eat what you kill.
Yeah.
see ya. But if not, I mean, there's other like VA services. Has anyone else heard of any like kind of VA services that are good? I don't know of many.
I hired some, but none of them were good.
Really.
Yeah.
What
With
was
it,
the problem with them?
I just like I never knew like if they actually did what they said they were gonna do. Like if they actually made the calls. Like I had no way of verifying if they made calls or not. So
That's tough.
and
Yeah.
nothing never came like no leads were brought back to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. And also like I mean, I'll go a little further like what you said of like kind of like training and like listening to calls and like what that looks like, at least for our team. We do daily meetings, so we meet every morning before we start making calls. On We try to on every day, we at least go over KPIs, like any new leads, we go over new leads together. And then we generally try to fit in some kind of like specific scenario, like role play. For us, since we're covering foreclosures generally, like we're talking about objections of like I have it taken care of, I'm filing bankruptcy, loan modification, reinstatement, I've got the money, blah blah blah. Like we go over specific things together just so like we can attack it that same day ideally.
Yeah.
And it's so shocking. Cindy and Amir will tell you this, and if Griffin was on here, it's like it almost feels like the objection that we cover that morning is always the one that we needed to cover that day to
Yeah,
like convert a
it's
lead. It's the
true.
weirdest thing.
It is
Like
true.
like Cindy, wasn't it? It was today.
Yes.
We literally
The magical
literally
thinking.
practiced. We literally practiced like magical thinking of like,
What's
oh,
riskier?
you know, like I was just playing the role of a homeowner that we hear, sometimes where it's like, oh, like, well, I mean, if the auction's here in 3 days and I just gotta just kind of figure it out. Like that, it's just kind of vague. It's like, what do you mean by figure it out? And they're like, well, I mean, I've always kind of just trusted like God to help me kind of just get through these things and like I know that I'm his and I'll triumph and it's just kind of that thing and it's like but you're behind $80,000 and you have 2 days left. It's like I'm not saying like I know God is for you. I believe that. But it's like
He's
there's
still
also
not
real
gonna make your
life.
mortgage payment.
Like yeah, like you didn't send him the wire instructions, right? So it's like and literally on the way to Gatlinburg, it's
Yeah,
making me laugh. Like this guy said it like almost word for
he
word what he
did.
said. It was weird. And Cindy and I looked at each other. We were like, Is this like real?"
Yeah,
So, I think
I
that's
think that's
important. And then
it
on
happened to
Wednesday,
me.
yeah, it did. Yeah. And then it's so funny. He's listening. And on Wednesdays, we tend to we do like an hour long session where we literally just do a call review for each team member. We try to. hmm
Sure.
Cindy, do you feel like those help, Amir?
Yep, definitely.
Oh
hmm
my gosh, yes. Absolutely. And it's good because
I
we've formed a bond where we trust each other and we can I'm sorry, be pretty vulnerable like if we don't know. And
yeah.
Evan is really, really good at, teaching us tonality, teaching us how to show empathy, and just the common objections you get from anybody.
Hmm.
It would fit with anybody, anybody you call that's like, no, I don't want to sell, or no, I don't, whatever. And who are you? Who are you with? What do you mean you can help? And how to answer that and do it, like I said, with empathy and still get past that objection to where they get talking to you and trust you and then like when you get the ones that are like you can't do a loan mod, you can't reinstate, don't want to do bankruptcy, but I don't know, it'll just fall out of the sky, you know. And then
Yeah.
it's I think the role playing is invaluable, don't you, Amir?
Hmm. For sure. Yeah. It
Amir,
matters.
how do you feel like that's helped you the most though?
Even though when I watch back my recordings, that helps a lot. Like I listen to my calls and I'm like, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that, I should have said this.
Yeah.
And you can correct yourself, I mean, by just rewatching your recordings. And even if you can like have someone else look at that and watch that, that would be even better.
Yeah, totally. And we should do that. Like Alex, if you got some calls, man, like whoever is like brave enough, like making some calls and you can record that, like I would highly recommend, like feel free to send that to me. Like we don't have to do it on a call, but I think it would be really cool to go over that. Like I'm not the type of person that's gonna like dog you out. It's like we all are works in progress. Like you could listen to one of my calls and be like, oh, you should have done that and done that and done that. Like That's
Mhm.
everybody, you know?
I got
So,
I got a question. So,
Super helpful.
yeah. What's up?
kind of talking about your team there, and I mean, teams are so powerful, but a big part of finding if it's a deal or not, analyzing the numbers and really looking at the comps and analyzing underwriting. Do you leave that to your team to do, or do you have formulas on which ones you even call, or is it call first and then analyze? Because,
Mhm.
you know, depending on who does that. Like for myself, without a big team, I'm doing that, every few days on stuff. But I'd love to hand that off, but I don't really trust somebody to else to do that at this point. But maybe I haven't put the right formulas together. And I know you focus on foreclosures, there might be a lot more equity in that. But let's say you're just working a normal, market or referral or something like that. Like that takes a good amount of analysis if it's not as much meat on the bones. So can
Yeah.
that be handed off very easily, or is that like
Hey,
something you do a
Evan.
lot?
Hey, Evan,
That's
I
a
just
good
want to
point.
say this in answer to his question real quick and Brent's. I think that's the
Yeah.
difference between hiring a cold caller that just has a script and just robotically calls through to meet a goal of like, you want me to do 50 calls a day. And I think that's what's really good because Evan has taught his team how to do comps, you know, and we are looking for equity. So anyway, I just think that makes it
Hmm.
where we're more invested and then we have a real heart for these people. It's not just
Yeah.
a cold call. We want these
No.
people to help them if we can, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. 1000%. No, that's really good insight. Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, when it comes to like analyzing deals, well, first thing is like with us, of course, like you said with foreclosures, right? Like it's like we generally try to, it's not going to be perfect, but we try to filter out, like if we're calling a list. This isn't necessarily your scenario because you said you have like maybe referrals or things that come in, but like if anyone in this group is like, hey, I want to call 1,000 people that are probate or foreclosure, right? The first thing you want to do ideally is you want to try to specify like what are you looking for? And so it's like Martin's really good at this. Like he has like a pretty specific buy boxes on like what he wants. And for me, like we filter out, we want to have at least 100,000 in equity, like generally, um, at least for like what we call like our gold leads, right? And then we have our silver, which is like below that, and like bronze is like last people to call, right? So we're gonna be calling. Hold up, let me mute this. Okay, cool. It was reverbing. Um, so we're gonna call gold like basically every day. Silver is gonna be like every other day. Bronze is gonna be like once a week maybe, or like automatic just text, right? Now, once we have those, we still have to confirm some things. So we're always just gonna go ahead and call. So like to answer that question, like we're just gonna call and just see if there's motivation, right? I'd rather do that than them wasting time on trying to analyze deals. That takes longer than just to pick up the phone and call real quick. So we call from there, then we're gonna analyze, okay, like roughly how much is on the mortgage left is one question we're going to ask, right? And then we're going to ask how much they want to walk away with, right? What's their walk away number? And then like real quick, what I'll do is like, and Cindy and Amir and Griffin will do this. It's like they'll look it up real quick on Zillow, like see just like what's the rough estimate, and then kind of just get a feel like, okay, if Zestimate's 300, they're wanting 300,000. It's kind of like there may not be much motivation there, you know? Not always, but most of the time, right? But if they're like, hey, our mortgage is 150 and we'd like to walk away with 50 grand, then it's like, okay, we're gonna hop on a second call and like kind of talk through it and see if this works. And then from there, then we're gonna analyze and I'm just gonna like structure it probably on the spot. Um, but I will say as a team, we all kind of tend to look at these deals like together. Like if Amir brings a deal, him and I will compare like our comps and like what our value and what we think it is. Same thing with Cindy, same thing with Griffin, just to kind of get an idea. And if we're really stuck, I'll just put it in our group chat and we'll all kind of just look at it together.
Good.
That's how we do it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
to answer your question, I'm still involved in looking at every deal and analyzing. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Once we feel like someone's motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you can analyze deals pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you're pretty fast. It does get annoying after a while, though, especially if you're not sure if someone's motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But that's good. You get to hear their number, what they're looking for first, just to even know. Because so many sellers, just on the general market, they want to get as much as they can. But again, you're on the foreclosure where there's, hurting for time frames and stuff. So it's a
dude,
little bit more motivated.
you would be shocked, sadly,
Oh,
how
some
many
of them
people in the
aren't. Right.
Dude,
Still
it's like what?
seen it. Seen it.
I had someone today that was like their auction was tomorrow, and this was like 1 p.m. today.
Is this
And the
Ronald?
seller's like, I really want, yeah, it's your lead, Amir. He's like, I just can't
Wow.
do that. He's like, I really want 500 for my $500,000 house, and I'm like, there's no way, you know. And we start getting into the numbers, showing him I need to be probably in like the mid 300s, something like that, because I needed some work. And he was like, yeah, I just can't do it. And I was like, what are you gonna do then? He's like, I guess I'll just figure it out. I'm like, what is there to figure out? And then I'm asking him like, what do you feel like is riskier for you? Which is what we talked about last week if you were here. It's like, what do you feel like is riskier for you? Like, do you feel like it's riskier for you to like maybe hope that like the funds come in from somewhere, or like hope that maybe the bank stops the auction for some odd reason, right? Maybe 1% chance and you end up losing everything? Or do you feel like it's riskier for you to take for sure, you know, $150,000 in your pocket? We stop the auction for you. We give you some time in the home, and you have the foreclosure off your record. Like in reality, what do you feel like is riskier for you? Like that's literally what I asked him.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, that's a loaded question. And I was like, well, this is a loaded scenario.
That's reality.
There's a lot going on here, right? So like in reality, what's riskier for you? Like try to put it back on him. And this guy just avoided every single question possible. I'm like, well,
I gotta just
there you
say the
go.
best part is he's selling airplanes in Belize and he'd have the money soon.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to show this video because
They
like
lie to
I
themselves.
usually post these on YouTube, but I'm gonna show this because no one's gonna watch it this far into the YouTube video anyways. I already know everyone's attention span. So I'm gonna show you this real quick. This is one of the funniest things I think I've ever received.
We're in the car looking at each other going, what did he say?
Okay. So this guy sends me this. So he goes, sorry, I don't want to make this about us all the time. But it's just funny. He goes, you know, I really don't want to sell my house. He goes, could I sell you this commercial property? I'm like, what kind of commercial property, right? And then he's like, well, it's this one, it's worth 500, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'll give it to you for 250. You know, we see that he bought it like not too long ago for like 200. We're like, okay, it's not worth 500.
And it's a shell
And
inside.
it's a shell. It's like nothing, right? You know, and then I'm like, and then he goes, so do you want it? I'm like, no, not really. And he goes, oh, okay, well, I actually like have it sold already. And I was like, so you have it sold? And he goes, no, but like oh, so you have a contract? That's what I asked him. He goes, well, no, I don't have a contract. I go, wait, so you don't have it sold or you do? And he goes, well, we have an offer on it. And it's
And
gonna
I'm gonna take it and I'll pay you.
and I'm gonna take it. And I go, okay, dude.
Right.
I go, I don't know what you're saying, but sounds good. And then he sends me this. He goes, hey, and also I can also pay you back in 30 days if you just give me a little bit of time. I have these planes that I'm selling.
In
And this
Belize.
guy from Belize is coming in to buy my planes. And I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is just not real. Like this guy is not telling me this. Dude sends me this. He's like, hold it, see if I can focus it. Oh, it's so
What
funny.
a
That's the guy. He's the planes in the background. He's selling the planes to in Belize that he can
So
pay us
he's
with.
showing me this. This guy's in a suit, like talking to this guy, and he's just showing the
Oh.
plane. Look.
I'll get you that money.
I didn't know all this.
And,
Dude,
and
Oh my
it's so
Evan,
God.
funny. I tried to
Ev-
send it in Slack.
Evan
Anyway.
so tactfully said at one point, well, how long has this been going on? You know, that you've been missing the mortgage. And tactfully, he was saying, why didn't you sell planes or the commercial building and solve this already? You know, like,
Right.
hello.
All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, that was funny.
What other questions y'all have? That's so funny.
He
Yeah,
is
dude.
gray. You're right.
He is crazy, Chuck. Wild. So wild. What's keeping some of y'all from doing deals?
I was just curious how much the plane was.
I should have asked that, dude. Dang.
I'm playing
There was
at my
auction-
back.
Yeah, there was no auction sale on the plane. We still have time.
You should have used the plane as collateral.
Yeah, dude. I should have. I don't know if that works in Belize though. I don't know. So funny, man.
Evan, going back to what you were discussing before, where you do different grades of equity,
Mhm.
in a simplistic situation, how do you determine where there's $100,000 of equity and it's a potential deal, whether it qualifies for gold, silver, or bronze?
Amir, do you want to answer that?
Yes, sir. So basically we would like to actually take a look at the ARV number, but in most cases we look at the Zestimate number, the estimation from Zillow, and we subtract that number by their mortgage balance, so that difference would be quote unquote like their equity, but that's like a paper equity. That's not the real equity, right? That will give you a ballpark number of like how much they've got equity, right? And it'll give you a better understanding of if you're willing to call this lead or not, if that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And do you determine the amount of mortgage left on the person's mortgage by speaking with them, or do you source that elsewhere?
That would be the best call, because what they've got is probably the most accurate, but you're collecting data from like different sources.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
On the front end, we just
Sure.
try to get like a rough ballpark and then we confirm later. Yeah.
Thank you.
confirm with
Appreciate that, Amin.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
One mistake I see people making, by the way, that is not good is like waiting. And I even actually we talked about this as a team this week. It's like, if don't like put things in your way to like get to a contract. Like, I think sometimes like we're like, well, how much do you owe? And they're like, like I think I owe like 200, like I'm close to that. And then people will be like, well, let's wait for like a payoff statement, or let's wait for a mortgage statement, or let's make sure we know exactly what it is. It's like there's no need for all that. It's like go to contract if you feel like, you're close enough. And then if something changes after seeing a mortgage statement, then you can talk about it then. I've seen like too many people like lose deals, including us. Like, we've lost deals because we've just kind of like waited, and then someone else offers them more or something. You just never know.
Does your contract have a way out? Let's say that they were off by 50,000 on how much they owed. Does it have a contingency that this is their mortgage statement balance?
Yeah, I mean, we just have that with like our inspection
Okay.
contingency,
Yeah.
just our
Sure.
due diligence or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
don't put hurdles in your way, for sure. What else we got? Anything else? These are good questions.
What's the minimum amount of calls that an individual will be expected to make during the day, and how much time would be allocated for those calls?
So our team, we try to hit roughly, and we're doing something a little bit different. We're not using like a dialer system. Like, we use our cell phones when we're calling, because like we usually just get better hit rates. And it's also like when we send text, it's not usually green, So those things like tend to help. So with our cell phones, we usually try to hit around 300. It depends on the team member and like what their goals are, obviously. But for the most part, everyone's trying to hit roughly 360 a week dials, something like that. So, broken down, that's probably what, like 70 something ish a day, 70 to 75 dials a day. And with connections, one day we can go over like our KPIs and stuff too, but connection rate, I think we're usually at like 12%, something like that. Which is like pretty standard. And then from there we try to break it down. Okay, what percentage of those people that we connected with did we have some kind of like unique conversation with them where we talked for more than 2-3 minutes? For us, we have a goal of like going over all their options with them in foreclosure. Like, that would be kind of our key indicator that we hit that mark. And then from there, how many appointments do we book to talk about selling? And then how many contracts, and then how many close? Like, that's kind of how we break that down. And I mean, I think to get those dials, we're usually spending what, 4 or 5 hours a day, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's grand. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anything else? Could even just be wins and have to be questions.
Yeah, and for anybody that does like outreaching, the more and the more we do this, we come to this understanding of how important following up with people is. This guy that we were talking about, just talking about it, I spoke with him for the first time last month and never heard back from him. And I've been just trying to get in touch with him, calling him every other day, texting him, and he just answered my like call 2 days ago, and it's like his foreclosure is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then all this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
Amir. We had our other team member, Griffin, had a guy calling, wasn't it the day before? And said help. And that's a guy I
Yeah.
think you were able to help. And then I had a guy
Mhm.
when we went to see today, he called me the day before and we got it stopped somehow. I don't know how. Literally called me the day before, like at 10 in the morning, and the auction was 11 the next day. But I think what Amir's saying too is so true. He somehow I stood out to him because I keep notes of every text, every email, every
Mhm.
call when I do it. So I'd reached out to him like 8 times. I had no idea. He never answered me, but he did see it, right? So that
Mm,
follow-up, like you say, is the key.
Do you
for
use
sure.
like a spreadsheet, or do you use some sort of CRM for you collectively to manage that? Or do you
Both.
do it individually?
We each have our own spreadsheet and then we have a CRM we can use too to put like a follow-up.
Sequence.
Yeah. We're still
And
kind of working on
Yeah.
tightening that up because we were like switching CRMs and it's just been
Yeah, I'm
a
in the
pain trying
same
to get the
boat
other one to
at the
work.
moment.
So yeah, really. What are you using now or what are you trying to use?
Well, at the moment, I'm just sitting on Trello, but
Okay.
previously it was, what was the other one called? Boomtown or Realtors. Then we moved to Follow Up Boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was working with Isaiah and Heather, we were using Go High Level, which
Yeah.
I found far more proficient.
Yeah. That's what we use right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super
Look at
customizable, which is also a
Simply
problem.
REI, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at that at all?
I don't think so. I've used Resimply before. Is it the same one?
Or maybe that's it. I don't know. I signed up for it at one point in time and then I never even
Is
got
it the
through
one
it.
that's like the green letters?
I don't know. It was promoted, whatever it was promoted out of the Cincinnati Rear Group. One of
Oh,
the guys
okay.
was there talking about it, but
Mm.
apparently it does a lot, but I never even got through it all. So
What did you use when you were doing like more PPC?
just Google spreadsheets. I was
Let's
manually
go,
doing it.
dude.
Yeah.
Grind it out.
Which wasn't I wish I would have had a CRM before I did that. I think it would have been a lot more effective.
Really? What do you
Just,
think
just
would
for
it helped with?
just a follow up. So having to
Okay.
like track and monitor anything, like if I had a CRM where I could type notes of like just briefly of what the chat was about, or anytime I
Mm-hmm.
had a conversation with the person, and then having follow up text, like my life, three little ones, it's like impossible to make calls, let alone follow up with people and remember
Yeah.
what you said to those people. So yeah, if I ever get back into it, that's the first thing I'm gonna make sure I have a solid CRM.
Well, the great
Yeah.
thing about the CRMs is, of course, you can record the call and it can
Yeah.
transcribe key components of that call and extract that. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
create new cards for your follow-up, new
Yeah.
tasks, I should say, for the follow-up on
Mm.
a card, on a record.
That's cool, actually. I didn't think about
Yeah.
Which app's that through?
That was so when I was working with Heather Torres and Isaiah Torres, um, they were using Go High Level, but there was a bespoke, there was a group that literally built, pardon the pun, it was actually called BILT. They built a system specifically for what we're doing. We're in different niches, but exactly what we're doing, same components. And the great thing when I was working with them, we'd literally record the call, which means that, say, in Everen's situation, he could go back and collectively you can see the result of the call, looking at your KPIs you mentioned, Evan. And you can determine, well, if it's quick through this point and it's slow out of this point, what part of the conversation has slowed it down so that the KPIs are not met? And you can look back on the transcript and also look back on listen, audio on the voice recording as well.
Super interesting. You're too smart for me, man. I don't know. I don't know if I can keep up with all that.
Well, I use a lot of AI agents. So I'm a one-man band here. So I've created a lot of AI agents, which enables me to literally grab something, put it into my ChatGPT Plus. I don't have to think about it because of what, depending on what goes in there, the AI agent that's responsible for that activity does all the work and passes it on to another AI agent before it gives it back to me.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah,
I'm falling in
it's
love
awesome.
with AI. Evan knows every day I use it. I just, for even personal things, saves me so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Been
treat it
very
like
interesting.
Google. Don't treat
Yeah.
it like Google.
Huh.
I just did my taxes for this year through using
Anything.
ChatGPT. Oh my
Anything
gosh.
that you do from an administration perspective, and mark my words, there is a massive change happening in AI over the next 12 months that will affect people's jobs and so forth. So anything that's administration, then you can do in AI agents.
Did you take a course to learn how to use it that way or just play around with it
No,
yourself?
good question. My background, I won't bore you to tears, but my background, I spent 11 and a half years in the Royal Air Force in the UK. And when I left, I decided to create my own consulting company in information and communications technology. And this is where most of you were not alive. And so I did work around the world. I traveled around the world working on very large corporate projects and programs, especially across Europe. And I learnt my skills through that trade, but I've always been, pardon the expression, tech savvy.
Mm.
And that's why I'm extremely curious in nature anyway. So I'll investigate anything.
Oh, cool.
Bro, Martin, I gotta say this. You're like not this is not being weird. Like if you called me, dude, and I was a homeowner, like to sell my house, I would be like, bro, like whatever price you want it at, like you got it. Your voice is like just like made for that. Like I need to pay you, dude. Here's what I need to do. I need to pay you like $10 a voice memo. I mean, like, bro, just send a voice memo to the seller for me real quick. Just in your accent, your pace. Just calm them down.
It's bizarre because
Oh, good, dude.
I've had 4 or 5 people since I've been in Tennessee and indeed California who have indicated that. And the other week I was at the Bible study with a large group of men, and I was posing questions to the elders at the table. And this chap came up out of the blue, never met him before. And he said, "Oh my goodness gracious, I could listen to you all day long. You know what? You should be paid for recording audiobooks."
That's
And I
awesome.
went, "Well,
You
thank you very much."
should. You would crush that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, dude.
But thank you. Thank you, Evan, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to teach us some AI stuff because I'm using it like it's a toddler right now.
Let's grab lunch and let's go through it.
Let's do it. Brent, you said you use it for your taxes?
Hey, include me.
Being better that much too. No, I just did. So I'm still using Google Sheets for 20 Airbnbs, and I would have to like track each expenses and utility bills and all my cleaners and everything. And go ahead, Martin. Feel like he's gonna give me advice right here.
Yeah, I think so.
We do this for our CPA. So what you can do is you can create an AI agent that sorts out all of that for you, and literally, and no word of a lie, I take download every transaction, I move that into the AI agent, and the template my CPA gave me to populate, I give it instruction sets for the AI agent. I literally go click, log into my bank, click, download the statement, put that into AI agent. The template the CPA gave me, put that into the AI agent. And within 2-3 minutes, it gives me everything back the CPA wants. I just post that to the CPA.
See, Evan,
What?
it's fascinating. See?
Dude, I need to learn that, dude, because I just hired a bookkeeper for like $700 a month just to literally
Matey,
so
we
Maybe.
need to get together.
help me
I will
out.
demonstrate to you how to set it all up. You can actually ask AI to give me the prompt for it to build an AI agent. So you don't need to know how to do it. Just say, I want to do this. Build me an entire instruction set for an AI agent to cover this administration. It will go away, spit it out. You populate and create your AI agent. Job done. You
Okay, I
test
want to
it.
go to lunch with you guys.
If
I'm
I can be of help
similar.
to you, please let me know.
Yeah, mine was not that good, but I did I pay all my cleaners through Venmo. So I just downloaded the entire year of Venmo and then I put it into ChatGPT and I said, make this an Excel spreadsheet that I could sort, and it organized it all, and then I could go through it, and then I was like, all right, now organize it by month, by property, and it did that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, just not being paid. I spent at least 2 days last year doing this myself. I'm like, it did it in 15 minutes. I was like, this is
Dude,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any last things that we want to cover today, or any thoughts, questions, deals, anything like that? Appreciate y'all being here today, and I learned a lot today. This was good. Very thankful. Thanks for everyone's insight. I enjoy learning anytime we can get on these calls. So hope y'all have a great
We can
week.
make it.
Let me know if you need anything in the meantime, and let's do some deals together this week. Let's crush it.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah, for
Good
sure.
night.
All right.
Thanks.
See y'all.
All right, bye.